Alright, picture this. You're standing in line, documents in hand, heart racing. You've done everything right, filled out the forms, paid the fees, even practiced answers to every possible question. But then, in just a few minutes, the consular officer hands back your passport with a cold, emotionless face. Unfortunately, your visa has been denied. Just like that, months of planning go down the drain. But why? Why is it so hard to get a US visa? To understand this, we need to dive into the complex world of US immigration policies, global politics, and most importantly, the mindset of visa officers. See, the US isn't just being difficult for no reason. The entire system is designed to filter out potential risks, whether that means people who might overstay their visa, work illegally, or pose a security threat. And depending on where you're from, your chances of getting a visa can be drastically different. Let's start with the basics. The US offers different types of visas, but the most common one for travelers is the B1/B2 tourist visa. In theory, this visa is for people who want to visit the US for tourism, business meetings, or visiting family. Simple, right? Not quite. Because for the US, it's not just about why you want to come, it's about whether you'll leave when you're supposed to. And that's where things get tricky. Every visa applicant is considered a potential immigrant until they prove otherwise. That's literally the rule. Visa officers are trained to assume that you want to stay in the US permanently, unless you can convince them that you'll return to your home country. And proving that? Well, that's where a lot of people run into trouble. You need strong ties to your home country, things like a stable job, property, family, or anything that makes it clear you have a reason to go back. If they get even a hint that you might not return, that's an automatic denial. Now, let's talk about where you're from. Because not all passports are created equal. Some countries have a much harder time getting US visas than others. Why? Overstay rates. If people from your country have a history of overstaying their visas or working illegally in the US, the rejection rates for your country go up. Countries with strong economies, stable governments, and low visa overstay rates, like Japan, Germany, or Australia, face fewer issues. But if you're applying from a country with high unemployment rates or political instability, your application will get extra scrutiny. But wait, it gets even more frustrating. Two people with nearly identical applications can have completely different outcomes based on something as random as which consular officer they get. Some officers are stricter than others. Some might deny more applications just because they've had a bad experience before. And the worst part? There's no formal appeal process. If you get denied, all you can do is apply again and hope for a different outcome. Now you might be wondering, how do people actually get approved? Well, there's no magic trick, but there are things that help. Strong financial proof, a history of international travel, and a confident, straightforward interview can improve your chances. But sometimes, even with all of that, it still comes down to luck. And here's where things get really interesting. Some people try to game the system. Fake documents, fabricated travel histories, even hiring visa consultants who claim to have special connections. But let's be real, consular officers have seen it all. They're trained to spot deception, and if they catch you lying, your chances of ever getting a visa drop to nearly zero. So, is the system unfair? Well, it depends on who you ask. From the US government's perspective, they're just protecting their borders and ensuring that visas go to people who truly qualify. But for millions of applicants who get rejected every year, many of whom had genuine intentions, it feels like a process designed to keep people out. At the end of the day, getting a US visa is like trying to win a game with rules that aren't always clear, where the odds are stacked differently for everyone. Some get through easily, others try multiple times, and some give up entirely. But if you ever find yourself in that visa interview, remember this: preparation helps, honesty matters, and sometimes, it's just a matter of luck. Countries with the highest US visa denial rates and why. Now, let's take a closer look at some of the countries with the highest US visa denial rates and the reasons behind them. Not every country faces the same challenges, and the reasons for high rejection rates can vary based on economic conditions, past visa abuses and diplomatic relations. Nigeria has one of the highest visa denial rates for the US. A big reason? Overstay rates. Many Nigerians who enter the US on tourist visas end up staying beyond their permitted time, sometimes working illegally. Because of this, the US is extra cautious with Nigerian applicants. Additionally, cases of fraudulent documentation in the past have led to more scrutiny. Haiti. Economic hardship and political instability make Haitian applicants high risk in the eyes of U.S. immigration officers. Many are suspected of wanting to migrate permanently rather than just visiting. Since the U.S. has a history of large Haitian immigrant populations, the consular officers are particularly strict about issuing visas. Ghana. Like Nigeria, Ghana struggles with high overstay rates. Many Ghanaian applicants are young professionals, and visa officers worry that they may use the visa as a way to find work illegally in the U.S. Because of this, strong financial proof and ties to home are essential for Ghanaian applicants. Cuba. U.S.-Cuba relations have been complicated for decades, and that reflects in visa approvals. Political tensions between the two countries mean Cuban applicants often face additional hurdles, especially since the U.S. government is cautious about issuing visas to people who may claim asylum upon arrival. Somalia. Due to ongoing security concerns, applicants from Somalia are heavily scrutinized. The U.S. has strict vetting procedures for countries with high terrorism risks, and unfortunately, this means genuine travelers often face difficulty getting approved. Sudan and Eritrea. These countries often see high denial rates due to diplomatic tensions and concerns about applicants overstaying their visas. Limited economic opportunities at home make U.S. consular officers more skeptical about an applicant's intention to return. Pakistan's visa rejection rate has been relatively high due to security concerns and overstay risks. Additionally, strained diplomatic relations with the U.S. in the past have led to tougher visa requirements for Pakistani applicants. While these countries have high rejection rates, it's important to remember that visa approvals are still possible with strong applications. A solid travel history, financial proof, and clear intent to return home can make a big difference. So, if you're applying from one of these countries, be prepared, be honest, and most importantly, don't lose hope. If you liked the video, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more amazing content. See you in the next one.